Welcome back, everybody, to Couch Coaches. Happy 4th. And I mean that is our 4th episode today. How you doing, Gully?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Coach Bully?
I'm doing pretty good.
Right on.
There's a lot of things happening. Free agency is going on in the NBA. We had the draft. We saw some signings. We saw a coach move. Little
That we
Bronny
did.
James got drafted. Everyone's new favorite Laker, or maybe new favorite James as a Laker.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of stuff, and I'm not sure if we can get it all into it today, but we'll try to hit some topics at least. And being from Minnesota, as we always say, from the land of 10,000 lakes, Timberwolves fans we are, and Timberwolves we will try to get to first.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a really good draft. Timberwolves had a fantastic draft. They not only drafted the point guard of their future, goalie, but also looks to be Terrence Shannon Jr., I believe, from Illinois, who can be a very good wing off the bench. How would you rate our draft with this Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky?
Um. well, uh, I don't know a whole lot about him other than that he did play for Kentucky. Um. But everything that I've kind of looked at, it says that was a pretty good deal for the Wolves, and I like the idea that we're gonna have a guy that can replace um, Conley for the future,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I mean, I think that's a pretty big step, especially being a young scorer. I think as long as he jives with Edwards and Cat, I think we should be pretty solid.
And with Mike Conley leading the pack, he's got, I mean, one of the best point guards in the game right now to kind of learn behind as far as maturity goes, and keeping your head on straight and doing things the right way. And it sounds like in the way that he plays defense, the way that he's a scoring threat right off the bat, I think he'll be a really good fit and probably get a lot of playing time as soon as the season starts. I think he'll get some good minutes.
Yeah, you're probably right. I can't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah,
You know,
and
unless he all of a sudden turns out that he's just not really ready.
I mean,
Then
his frame might not be ready, and maybe that could be a small issue. I think he's a buck 70, 6'1" or 6'2", so he's
right,
lean, but he's quick, he's fast. They were calling him one of the best scorers in the draft, so maybe that is kind of his game, to be a little slippery, you know.
sure,
So
absolutely.
I think it could be a really good move. This other guy out of Illinois, they're talking very highly of as well, and give us a little bit more depth to where we might be able to not have to worry about a Kyle Anderson or some of these old rookies. I think they ended up trading, was it Wendell Moore? And so they still have like Josh Minot. Like some of these guys can probably go, and hopefully these guys that they drafted this year will turn out.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it would be nice, to actually have the Wolves maybe be on a little bit of a streak of good draft picks.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
we have not been known for very good drafts, that's for sure.
that is true. Um, and with the Timberwolves re-signing Tim Connolly,
Yep.
they are still looking to win now, and I think that was the move with Rob Dillingham, is that they might be able to use him right now, and what they decide to do with McLaughlin or Monty Morris, I'm not sure, but it shows that they wanted to get the guy of their future and the guy that's ready now. So I don't, they're not, they're trying to keep their foot on the gas. It looks like,
Yep.
which is,
Well, as they should.
as a Wolves fan, I'm really excited for that. Instead of just taking a step back and not blowing it up, but when you let key pieces move, it's it could be detrimental, and especially if you look at the teams that have made it very far, everyone's got stars, but it's the ones with the deep bench that seem to be the most successful. So if we can get that
Absolutely.
depth, that'll give us a hopefully an edge to keep moving and be competitive next year and maybe reach the conference finals again.
Yeah.
Way too early to tell, but I think it's a good move. Um, some other
Yeah.
moves that were happening around the league. Um, the
Well, actually, can we?
Sixers. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. There was one move that we haven't touched on. Actually, is that the Wolves signed Finch to an extension.
I saw that. I'm okay with it. There's there's a couple, and everyone has their quirks and nitpicks. Mine
Sure.
is he needs to learn when to use timeouts. He needs to learn to use timeouts. The
Sure.
opponents seemed during the playoffs they seemed to go on runs of 10 up to 15 points before
Right.
anything happens, and you got to stop that at 7 or 8. Let them cool off, let them rest, figure something out, stop the momentum, and you know
Well, it
regather.
actually that's a great point because I think um, Jason Kidd illustrated how important it is to know when you call your timeouts in the series against the Wolves.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and so I mean it. You definitely could see it
And
how savvy of a coach Jason Kidd is.
I love Jason Kidd as a player. Obviously, very smart,
Yep,
very
same.
intelligent.
I
I
did too.
mean, super dynamic. Nothing I could really say negative about the guy. And he's had some rough patches in his coaching career, but still has been you know uh, improving. From when he first came into the
Yep.
league, and I think we got outcoached that entire series. And so yeah, it's there are certain things that are very aspect of it, but I looking at our options, I think Finch is, the best option that we could have anyway, so I'm okay with
Yep. But it also didn't help with Finch getting his knee taken out.
it. That's
And
true.
having a coach from freaking a chair.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
you know,
But it's a committee, right? And the assistant coaches
sure.
still everyone's got to be on the same game plan. And I think that's just not something that he utilized very well, and maybe something he can improve on.
Yep.
So, and actually, the Timberwolves also signed Luca Garza too. So how about that? We got another big man back, and I
Nice.
don't I don't mind that. And I think it was pretty cheap. I don't remember exactly what it came out to be. Two-year
Yep.
two-year edition. Hopefully, he gets his a little bit more playing time. I think we've seen him in um, garbage time picking up some minutes, but
Right.
I'd
Yep.
like to see him get some
That's
meaningful
it.
minutes,
Absolutely. I agree.
kind of see what he can showcase.
Yeah, he was always good down in Iowa.
Yeah, yep. Some other names around the league have made headlines. And we can maybe just start with the 76ers shelling out um, about $8 billion for all their players.
Yes. That's not too far off. I just saw a little thing where they got like 630 million wrapped up in three players. So
Right. It's just I don't know. I'm not going to say it's getting too much because everyone seems to be able to afford it and whatnot. Good for them. I wish I was an athlete, uh, you know. But they got Tyrese Maxey. They just with the addition of Paul George now, four
yep.
year 212. Is he going to be? He's 34 years old. Is he going to live up to that? I'm obviously going to say no, just because
Mhm.
it's what $53 million a year and you're past your prime. I don't know what the thought process was behind Philadelphia. They have not had
Uh,
historically very great, at least in recent history, the smartest signings or trade moves. We can list, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, James Harden, and there's a couple more down
yeah.
the list, I'm sure. So this one I think is up there. I
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. It's it will remain to be seen, but uh, I now I'm not the the best on Basketball Historian, but I don't believe Paul George has a championship, does he?
No, I don't even know if he's been to a championship. And he did tear up his ankle when he was in Indiana, and that was pretty
Yeah.
brutal. So for him to still have a long career, applaud that. And he has been a great player. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I just don't think, you know, what's a player worth nowadays. It's so hard to gauge because everyone's getting 200 million. It seems like, but I
Right.
don't put him as a top 10 player in the league. And I feel like that's where $200 million should be going to top 10, 15 players. Now their whole super max and new max and this max contracts just gotta stop. I don't.
Uh, well, speaking of, did you happen to see that Jason Tatum's agreed to a 5-year, 314 million max contract with the Celtics?
And you want to talk about 600 million tied up? Now they got him and Jalen Brown totaling, I think, about 600 million. I think last year they signed
Yeah.
Brown for 285 ish. So 314, 285, 599. I'm rounding up.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
No semantics here, people. Does he deserve that? No. I'm not saying he ain't good, but who's worth $300 million to dribble a basketball? I
Well,
don't know.
it just goes to show you how much the owners must really be
And
making.
there, someone's making bank, and these stadiums aren't
Yes.
filling 75,000 people like the NFL.
Oh, this is
You
true.
know, but I mean,
Yeah. Well, the
there's
NFL,
less
I
people
mean,
on a roster though, so I do get that. But I mean,
well,
salary
that
caps are
in,
probably the same.
NFL has what, a total of 10 home games, not including playoffs if they make it.
That's true. Yeah, it's not
Whereas,
apples to apples.
whereas basketball has what, 41?
Yeah, yeah. Probably should have thought about that before I start talking. But that's what I do best. Think before I speak,
Exactly.
or speak before I think. One of the two. Obviously, we just
Yep.
did it right there. Clay
It's all good.
Thompson. Clay Thompson signs a 3-year, $50 million with the Dallas Mavericks, where he can be a splash brother somewhere else now. Is this a good move for Clay Thompson? Is this a good move for Dallas? Is it going to work out, or is he just over being a stud player?
Hmm.
So for about $17 million a year, you're getting probably still a good shooter,
Yeah.
but I don't know what more he brings to the table.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so let's ask you this. Um, now, if Clay Thompson would have went to the Lakers, 76ers, right? Now, would you think that'd be a smarter play for the 76ers versus uh, doing what they did with Paul George?
Uh, I'm going to say yes. It costs them less money. It's a shorter term, so they can get out of it. It's going to be harder to find a trade partner for Paul George if the time comes.
Right,
You're
right.
you're 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 strapped to it, and the production value might get a little bit more from George, but it's not going to be a breakaway section, right? It's going to. I don't. I don't see
Yeah,
a huge separation between the two. So I think it probably would have been smarter if they wanted a shooter to go after Clay Thompson. I would actually like to see Clay Thompson join the Lakers because they needed a little spot shooter. They got everyone else that can,
sure.
handle a ball. Ronnie James and LeBron now, and D'Lo just
Yep.
re-signed there. He opted in.
I did see that.
So they are switching gears to the Lakers right now. That I think Clay Thompson would have had a better chance in LA. Now, Dallas, I don't know how that's going to fit being now with 3 guards, and we did see how their small lineup was effective.
Right.
I don't know if that just seems like here, Golden State, I'm going to sign with an enemy or something. Something seemed more, backstabbing ish. Something
Well,
seemed
if I'm, I
beyond.
saw on Twitter that it was posted that um, Golden State Warriors are actually already setting a date to retire his uniform, Klay Thompson. So
How about that?
I
Is
don't necessarily
that?
know.
I mean, they did win 4 championships. Does that mean they
Yep.
have to retire Draymond Green as well? Or do they just get to frame a microphone for him?
Yeah, that's what it should be.
They also let go Chris Paul, and he signed with the San Antonio Spurs. I don't know if they're in the lines to try to win a championship because Chris Paul is yet to get a ring himself.
Hmm.
But I don't mind it because it looks okay for him to be a leader, and it kind of might be fun to see him and Wemby just maybe lead a young team and kind of get their feet in the line for 11 million. What else you got to
Yep.
lose? You already made a buck, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Some other names are kind of bouncing around the league here. DeMar DeRozan is still available. Miles Bridges, Buddy Hield is another guy I'd kind of like to see with the Lakers. They need shooting, and I know I keep talking about the Lakers, and we're Timberwolves fans, but there's a reason. We're going to get back to that in a minute. But I don't see anyone else really on this list that screams at me, "Go get him," or try to pay that man his money. So I think DeMar DeRozan stays with Chicago. I think he does, but I'm gonna just take a gander and say Buddy Hield changes uniforms to put on the purple and gold. That's my hot take. Now there was
Hmm.
rumor that um, Russell Westbrook, also coming out of L.A., was deemed to be a trade partner possibility for the Denver Nuggets.
Hmm.
I don't, and people from Denver are really liking that. If I was Denver, I would just stay away.
I would agree. I I don't know. There's something a little bit off with that guy. He always seems to be a little bit. I think like one of those toxic locker room players.
Yeah,
He's always got to have the ball. He's very vocal about that. It just seems like it's just disrupts the team.
yeah, I tend to agree with that one. I would just try to stay away from it, and the fact he's probably still going to want $40 million like every other you know guy
Oh
out
yeah,
there that played 15 years ago. Um,
right.
LeBron played 15 years ago. Actually, he played 21 years ago. He and I are the same age, and I feel great about that. So don't ask. But he has a new coach, JJ Redick, coming off of a podcast like we do. That means we have hope also.
Absolutely.
What are you okay with this move considering he has no coaching experience? Do you think they should have gone with a guy like Monty Williams, who's getting paid $80 million to not coach, or someone else? What do you think was the best option, and did they choose it?
To be honest with you, I think that Monty Williams' call is would be pretty spot on. I don't think the Pistons. It, there had to be somebody in the front office that just hated the guy
Yeah,
for them to just cut ties with him and still owe him so much money. Um, but JJ Redick, uh, could he be something similar to Jason Kidd? Do you think
right.
been a student of the game that well? I mean, you know,
He played for, I mean, what, 15, 17 years? It seems like he had a lengthy
mm-hmm.
career.
Yep,
He's seems super
and
smart and competent whenever he's talks and on his podcast. So I
yeah.
you go ahead though first before I answer.
Oh, I was going to say, so I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance of it just because he also played for several teams as well,
Yeah,
right? Several different coaching styles. See how uh, the coaches go about, their game plans, and then also how you present that to, your potential prima donnas,
yeah. What
right?
works, what
Of the
doesn't,
team,
and not only
right?
that,
Yeah, the approach.
but he also has, whether you call it inside information or not, on how lot of these different organizations run, run with their front offices, what their style is as far as, trying to attack as in depth for player personnel, you know.
Yeah,
So I like, I mean, I don't think everyone should be given a shot just like that, but I mean, it's not like the guy's uneducated about basketball, you know.
sure,
Not, I
sure.
don't think everyone has to have a coaching regime. Somebody's got to get a head start somewhere. I know they were talking about like Sam Cassell has been an assistant for 15 years and never gotten a head coaching opportunity. I don't know. Is there a
Yeah,
reason behind that? I we don't know. I mean, everybody has to get their first shot somewhere. I think even Doc Rivers came out of the blue and started coaching one year. So it
no,
happens every now and then.
I would agree with you, and I think know what I know a little bit about Sam Cassell. I mean, there's probably history there around the league that probably is part of the reason why he hasn't had the opportunity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Versus just like you were saying with JJ Redick, you know, speaking very articulately about the NBA itself, the strategies and stuff like that behind it. I
Right.
mean, yeah.
It sounds like he could be a good voice too for some changes that the NBA could introduce, or to stop doing this or start doing that. I know a week or two ago we had talked about the whining rule behind Luca,
Yes.
and let's say that was JJ Redick's idea. He might have a voice to try to get that through now that he's more part of an organization and involved with, how the coaching process goes.
Yeah.
So I am a big fan of it. I don't think it should happen all the time, but the guy's qualified enough in my mind. I don't think it just has to be only coaching experience. The guy to me is knowledgeable, and if it doesn't work, you tried something. The other
Right.
coaches haven't seemed to work out right now. Um, One of the guys he's going to coach low is the little Bronny James, and was that a daddy move? I mean, I personally like the fact Bronny James is in a Lakers uniform,
Sure.
primarily because if he was on another team, he probably wouldn't get any minutes. Now, was he less qualified than most of the other draftees? Okay, sure. I'm not going to say yes or no. I mean, he's a freshman that had a heart attack, cardiac arrest.
That's what I was just gonna say. How
Eh,
about that for a risk?
So, and everybody, wants to hate on him because they hate his dad. Well, stop, dude.
Well,
You
yeah.
just need to stop that. So,
Well, I agree with that. And to be honest, I mean, so currently LeBron isn't a Laker right now, right?
so he did decline his final year's option, but I think it's to restate or get a new contract and probably like another 2-year extension or something. So
Sure.
odds are that obviously he's going to come back to the Lakers. I mean,
Right.
why would you have all this pull in the Lakers uniform to draft Bronny and then be like, see ya?
Or was it one of those things to where, he kind of his management has said, you kind of have to go and do this for me to sign back with you.
Definitely a possibility, behind the scenes. Yeah, I definitely like that scenario.
Yeah.
You're playing with now with JJ Redick. We just talked about how um, smart that guy is. You got the
Hmm.
smartest basketball player in LeBron James, and you got some good surroundings around him. Now, if he was to be on a different team, Bronny wouldn't get any minutes. Now playing with LA, you're going to get quality minutes, and you're going to be able to tell if this guy can play in 2-3 years, or if it's just not going to work out. But the dude had a really good combine, so I'm giving him the thumbs up. I'd like to see him succeed.
Well,
You know,
absolutely. I mean, I think everybody would, especially considering not so much his dad, but just considering his story in college, and all of a sudden, yeah, suffering cardiac arrest, on the basketball floor, and then getting cleared and coming back, and I
yeah.
mean, proven yourself enough to get drafted. Now, who's to say he would have technically gotten drafted? But he at least would have been an invitee afterwards, right?
I
If he hadn't.
actually I did hear the Timberwolves had some interest in him before they made a move for Dillingham, so that would have
Oh,
been
really?
interesting to see if what would have really happened. Um, so
So you're saying one of our minority owners might have been trying to attract him?
there may have
It's
been
a,
some pull one way or another.
hmm,
Um, I cannot confirm nor deny
yeah. Well,
because I have zero information.
yes. Well, I was just thinking where I was going with that is just because Alex Rodriguez is a huge name in sports,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And he's one of our minority owners currently.
yeah.
So it's like,
As that goes
yeah,
into courts and trying to figure that
hmm,
whole
which he could be, him and his
debacle out,
partner could be majority owners pretty
right?
soon,
And
right?
I'm in favor of that. I like to see just the changing of ownership, the changing of hands to set a new ownership, a new culture, a whole new franchise. Really, I mean, this really didn't
Sure.
start to happen until these guys kind of got involved. I mean, something may have
I
been
would agree.
brewing since, but credit to them, and
Yeah.
I,
No, I would agree with you. Uh, I my only fear with that, I know we're kind of getting off a little bit of a tangent here, but my only fear is once they get majority ownership, they could potentially say move the team somewhere, you know. But
that was supposed to be in the original contract that they were supposed to stay in Minnesota, but it's always kind of been on the everyone's in the back of people's minds, like, are they going to move to Seattle? Are they going to take us and go? I think now that we've
sure,
created something here, I do believe that they would like to stay. Not
yeah,
guaranteed though. So,
yeah.
um, well, Timberwolves and free agency has not really gone well in the past.
What you don't say?
Um, so I'm going to challenge you. Give me two good and two bad newly acquired free agent signings that the Timberwolves have had in their history. It doesn't have to be anytime recent, but two that you think. Let's start with the bad.
Okay,
I
okay,
have two. Actually, I wrote down three. I always cheat.
nice.
I wrote down. I wrote
I
down.
don't know if that's cheating, but
I wrote down three, but I starred the two that I wanted to see if I think these ones are better. And then with the good, I'll explain that here in a second. So let's start with your bad. What are
okay.
the two
Well,
bad in your mind?
I'll give you my first one.
Okay.
Joe Smith.
Okay. We're on the same page with that one. I mean,
So he was a good player,
yeah.
but I think that the whole uh,
Uh,
and granted, the Timberwolves were just at fault with that
oh yeah.
under the table
Right.
signing,
Napkin
you know.
scratch.
But that screwed the organization for so many years, and even then, when who was the NBA
Stern.
yes, David Stern. Thank you very much. Uh, I think he kind of had it out for us because we did that. I
I
think
don't
it
disagree with
was
that whatsoever. So I yeah, he that was it. I'm not saying it wasn't partially on Joe Smith, but it is 99% in the ownership of the Timberwolves to make such a bad decision on it. Now, if they did it legally and everything, I probably wouldn't think Joe Smith was that bad of a signee. I think he was actually kind of fun
I
and
would agree.
productive. But
Yep,
but
I would
just
agree.
the impact on it for all the years to come was just gosh
Yep,
awful.
yep.
Um, who is your
So it's a good
number?
thing you wrote down three.
Yeah. Who is your other? Who is your second one?
Darko.
Darko Milicic. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Just because he was pretty highly touted signing. I mean, and he just really didn't do anything.
You had LeBron, Darko, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh. I think I messed up that order. I think it was Carmelo D Wade or D Wade Carmelo, and then Chris Bosh. And
Yep.
then Milicic is somehow involved in those five players. And then the Timberwolves decided, hey, this guy's got some life. Let's take a
Exactly.
stab at this man. Yeah,
Yep.
that did not turn out well. Mine was Jeff Teague, the guy
Okay.
that brought nothing to the table. We didn't need him. We shipped out Ricky Rubio at the time that we traded for Jimmy Butler, and now we're paying Jeff Teague more money to I don't know what he did. I would rather have had Ricky Rubio being the dynamic passer to 3 scores at the time that we had.
Yep.
So I don't know why we did it. And then he costed us a ton of money for like 3 or 4 years, and we had to somehow trade him for nothing to get him off the roster. Awful.
Right.
And then the
Exactly.
dude went to be a
Exactly.
bench player after we got rid of him. And honorable mention, Michael Olowokandi.
Yeah, that was not the greatest either.
Not the greatest, not the worst, but as far as when you sign a
Yeah.
guy that is as a top 5 draft pick in hopes that you can turn a career around, and it's still just show
Yeah.
it. It was not the fun. Okay, let's think positive thoughts here.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep.
So I have again, I have 4 written down here, but I'm leaving 2 out on purpose, and there's a reason for this. So go ahead with one of yours.
I am gonna go with Tom Gugliotta.
Hey, dude, I swear you're cheating and looking at my sheet. I also have Tom Gugliotta, and I love that signing. He was a very productive, a very class act
Oh,
player.
absolutely.
When we got rid of him, it was a very sad thing to see. But we saw him come
Yep.
to life at one of the Timberwolves games, so that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of my favorite players back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was always played hard, always played well. I mean, yeah, he was like you said, a class act.
yeah, very 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 good player. Um, I'm gonna give you my second guy, and this is
Okay.
more of a favorite pick than maybe the most productive. Throwing it way back, point guard Terrell Brandon, who came from Cleveland, played with Sean Kemp after he left
Okay.
the Seattle Supersonics. Terrell Brandon, I thought was just a very I don't even know, just a clean player. Just smooth,
Okay.
easygoing, never had to, didn't turn the ball over often. He didn't score 30 points, but he would just a lot of assists.
Hmm.
Just a great. It was almost like a poor man's Chris Paul, but for the Timberwolves.
Okay.
And if any other Timberwolves fans out there, let me know what you think about Terrell Brandon. I was a big fan of that. So I
Uh,
wrote him down.
well, I was going to say you might be cracked there, but and the only but that might show my ignorance a little bit on Timberwolves history, but yeah. Anyways, I'll let it slide.
Okay, all right, we got to pass. What do you have for number 2? You had
Latrell
Gugliotta,
Sprewell.
Latrell. Okay,
Yeah, just because he was such a dynamic. I hated the way it ended. Right,
yeah,
that was all on him, and that really was the end of his career. But he
yes,
was just such a talented player, obviously with a lot of baggage. But
yeah.
boy, when he had his mind right and he was playing, I mean, he is, in my opinion, at the time, he was probably one of the top 10 players in the league.
He was he was a great fit for us with KG, the other guy that we'll get to,
Yep.
Sam Cassell, and then
Yep.
the number 3 guy that we needed in the lineup. It was a perfect fit. He actually knew his role, and wouldn't say fully
Right.
matured, but he seemed to figure it out while he was here for a couple years, 2 years maybe.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah, then they offered him a 3-year, $21 million, and he says, "I need more money. I need to feed my family."
Yep.
And apparently, his family starved because he didn't get another contract after that.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard that he actually had claimed bankruptcy at some point.
I believe you're
So,
right. I believe he's broke and
eesh,
selling cars or something. Um,
that's rough.
I kept Sam Cassell off. I think that was maybe just a too obvious for me.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
Obviously, both players helped us get to the Western Conference Finals, so I left him off just on purpose to throw in my favorite Terrell Brandon in
Right on.
there. Cool. Well, I think that worked out, guys. Let us know who you think were the best and worst of.
And please let us know if Coach Bully is cracked.
Or is he on? Never mind. Um,
Nice.
Another little fun thing. We got a couple fun things to end. We're gonna keep it pretty light for the fourth here. Is a quick change of gears. We had talked about this before the show, but 5 your favorite, not the all time, but just your 5. Give me your 5 favorite
Mm-hmm.
sports video games on any console, and if you want to include PC, that's fine as well. Do you want to go 5 in a row, or do you want to go one at a time?
Let's go one at a time.
Okay.
All right. So my number one,
Do you have yours ranked?
I do have mine ranked.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I do not have mine ranked, but just for the sake of it, I'm gonna rank them.
Okay.
So
So should we work backwards?
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's go number 5.
Okay.
Yep. Let's go number 5.
Okay. So my number 5 favorite video game is Tecmo Bowl,
Tecmo Bowl. Okay.
the original.
I
Bo Jackson.
Yes. Yeah, he's a cheat code.
Yeah, you could. Oh yeah, you couldn't. You couldn't be stopped.
Speaking of cracked,
Yeah.
that guy was
Yes.
that guy was impossible. There's actually one, I can't remember who it was. There actually is one more player on the game that is just as much of a cheat code. But he's like some no-name dude that no one ever finds out. But yeah, you guys will have to Google it. There's another guy.
So, and on a side note, for you people who still like to play, video games in that manner, like the look and feel of it, I have a game that I play on my phone called Retro Bowl.
Oh, is it kind of a similar style?
Yep, and you carry over seasons and stats.
I do.
It's a fun little game. It can suck you in though. Next, you know, you'd be like, oh, I've been sitting here for 40 minutes.
I can hear the sound in my head. Ready, down, and the music goes on.
Yep.
I have. It's called Coach K. It's a college basketball game from, I believe it was Sega on the 96-ish, maybe 97, somewhere in that time frame. It set up the NBA Live series basically, and you could break the backboard in it with college players. It's really
nice.
cool. And it is called Coach K, and yeah, I just don't know what more to say about it. It was just really fun. You can do little tournaments and stuff too.
Nice. That's cool.
Number 4.
Yeah, you gotta like that. Number 4 for me was Double Dribble.
Oh,
on the original Nintendo.
Okay, that's throwing it way back.
Oh yeah, that was such a fun game.
I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. I did not put that on my list, and I have like 15 or 20 on here. I did have SNK Baseball from the regular NES as well. I did not put it on my list, but SNK Baseball was a really cool game. I'm going to put my number 4 at NFL Blitz. The game where you could not blow out your opponent because some algorithm had it in there to where you would fumble every play until the other team comes back. There's just no way of blowing out your opponent.
Exactly. Yep. Well, even, on some of the versions of Madden, it was kind of like that. If you were running away on somebody, all of a sudden out of the blue, whoa, he fumbled. It's like, what?
All
But
right, number 3.
okay, so there's going to be a little bit of a theme with my games. There's a lot of them that are old school, but it was called Baseball Simulator 1000, and that was for the actually, you know what? It might have been for the Genesis, but I think it was for Nintendo. Yeah, it shows you how old I am.
This is probably for the Atari guys.
Yeah, not quite, not
Pong
quite.
is not a video game of sports. Or is that what they called soccer before they had anything else?
Yeah, exactly. But no, this game, what I really liked about it is because I'm into stats and stuff like that. So it would keep your, your season stats, and it was just, yeah, it was fun. You could make your teams up, and it was a great game. It's a lot of fun.
Actually, I brought up SNK Baseball Stars before, and you can do seasons with player stats, and yeah, also
Yep.
really cool.
Yep.
What are we on? Number 3, right?
Yep.
Ken Griffey Baseball.
Okay.
Was that? Oh, I kind of forgot just offhand. Was that N64? I think it was N64. That was a really fun game. One of the first that had the home run derby involved, and the size of the circle, was dependent on how good of a hitter you were and how bad or
Sure.
good of a pitcher you were. So
Yep.
yeah, Ken Griffey Baseball was phenomenal.
Nice. Moving on to number 2.
Number 2.
All right. 93 NHL on Sega Genesis.
Okay.
That game, especially if you were with the Detroit Red Wings,
Yeah.
I,
Yes.
I could not be stopped.
Yep. I think the
just
Blackhawks were really
Sergei
good too.
Fedorov. Yeah, Sergei Fedorov. I people wouldn't play me. It would just be like, you had to come in at the right angle, quick fake,
And
backhanded in.
I think if you go around the net, it was almost an unstoppable as well. Going around the net and hooking her in.
Yep.
Yep. My number 2, and I don't know if it needs much of an explanation. NBA Jam.
Oh, yep. That was good. That was actually really good.
He's on fire. He's heating up. Yeah. That was
Yep.
a really fun game, and also kind of like NFL Blitz. It was very hard to blow out an opponent, but yeah, pretty fun.
All right, drum roll. Nine. Wasn't quite expecting that, but 93 Madden.
Madden 93. Yeah.
Yep. That was on Sega Genesis. It
Yep.
was so good. I mean, and that was another game that I used to have problems with friends not wanting to play me after a period of time, just because I was too good at it. But
yeah,
yeah,
was it the veer, or there's some sort of veer option to the right that was almost impossible to stop.
Yep. Oh yeah, there was a whole bunch of plays though. I was kind of an expert at that game. It was.
And my number 1, which, I mean, it's still a sport, so I'm still keeping it on there. Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh, nice. Okay, badass. Nice.
I
like that.
When you get if you could beat Glass Joe or Glass Eye Joe or whatever that guy's name is, and
right.
Raging Bull and Soda Popaninsky. Yeah, man.
I remember that.
What was the guy that you hit his belly, and he would do one of these with his arms?
Right.
Yeah. What a game! What a game! Super fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever beat Mike Tyson. I may have. I may not have. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't think I was that good at that game, but I mean, it was definitely fun.
My cousins and I spent days, probably weekends playing this. And, you know,
Oh
as soon
yeah.
as we got the next, there's a code after like 3 or 4 people that you beat. And so we would take a break,
Okay.
turn it off, and we'd have to, you know, then you type in the code and you get to save your spot and come back into the game instead of, you know, leaving it running for 3 days on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
give you a small little trivia. I don't know if you have anything set up, but I got something for you.
Oh, great.
In the past, we've done some fill in the blanks, we've done blind ranks, and we've also done the missing player. We're going to go. I'm going to give you 2 players. They're both going to be quarterbacks.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you their the teams that they've played for, their journey. And you tell me what player you think it is that fits this mold. Are you ready for number 1?
Yes, Pat Sajak.
Spin the wheel. All right. I'm not going to give you the years, but he started his career with Minnesota. He went to Washington, Tampa Bay, back to Minnesota, and ended his career with the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm gonna say Whiskey Wade Wilson.
Not a bad guess, but it is incorrect.
Oh.
Do you want to take 2? I think Wade Wilson did play for Dallas as well, so that was definitely
Yeah.
a worthy guess.
All right. So all those teams were in order.
Yes, in order: Minnesota, Washington, Tampa Bay, back to Minnesota, and Dallas. Now, if you want the years, I'll give you the years now, or at least the beginning and end.
Sure.
Started in 1994 with Minnesota, ended in 2008 with Dallas. And he won a Super
Man,
Bowl.
he did he? Oh, Brad Johnson.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. Okay.
I did not know that he finished in Dallas. For some reason, that slipped my mind.
Yeah, I always forget that too. And he played until the age of 40 in Dallas.
Yeesh.
Okay, this one may be a little trickier, but it's going to be on kind of the same path as the last guy. He started, and I'll give you the year he started. It was 1994. Green Bay, then Jacksonville, then Washington, then New Orleans, and finished in 2011 with the New York Jets. So it was a 17-year run for this guy. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Washington, New Orleans, and the Jets. But don't let Green Bay throw you off. He played 2 games.
So I'm going to say Mark Brunell.
That is correct. Well done,
Yes.
young man.
Yes.
Yes.
You are correct, sir.
Yes, he says. Okay. Well, that's all the fun that I have today.
Yeah. I'm tapping out myself.
Well, guys, thanks for joining. Make sure you be safe and have a happy 4th of July. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the bell, all the fun little things. And we'll see you guys
Absolutely.
in a week.
Yep. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Laters.